survival in our heart. Join us on a journey through darkness, we'll bring light. Rural Report is here, guiding us through the night.
Hello again and welcome back everybody to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2 IC and we're going to have another little rural talk, or aka the ugly truth to SHTF. Now, one of the things that I have kind of been seeing around different social medias and other platforms, if you will, is a lot of this kind of wolf in sheep's clothing, or the werewolf prepper, or things like that. And what that is going to bring us to is one word: beware. Okay? So you need to beware of people. And that brings into the vetting process, that brings into preparing, right? You are doing things beforehand. You don't want to have a situation happen and then you're forced into the people around you. You would like to make it the most opportune that you possibly can by vetting people and strategically picking people to fill the different roles that need to be done. And so it needs to happen as soon as possible. If you haven't already started, now's the time. And there's multiple different ways to go about it. One, you need to assess yourself and see where you fit in, where are your strengths, where are your weaknesses, because your strengths is what you're going to sell yourself on, and your weaknesses is who you want to gather around you. But when we talk about the fact of you need to beware, is yes, you're going to have people before, okay? Now take out the are we in WW3 right now, or are we in SHTF right now? Let's just pretend for a moment it's peacetime, okay? Everything's relatively normal. And so now is the time that you need to beware. You need to be careful, because there is people out there that is trying to take advantage of the situation. Okay, now whether that is people out there that are trying to sell you something, look at me, I'm going to sell you myself so that way I can earn your trust, even though you will never meet me in person. I have the greatest, latest, shiniest, full on guaranteed you will survive SHTF and 4 easy payments of 1995, right? So those need to be the ones that you need to be careful of. You need to have red flags when you start watching these things or you hear about these things. Okay. One, are they trying to help you, or are they trying to help themselves with some of your money? Now, money, I get it. We can have a huge debate. We can probably do multiple different shows on money, but you trade your time for money. Okay. What is it that you do? So let's say that you do provide a service and you make $20 an hour. That person comes to you and says that they have the absolute greatest thing in the world that is guaranteed to get you through SHTF, and it costs $100. Are you willing to basically give 5 hours of your time on what they give you as a promise? Okay. You don't know this person at all. They can go through and they can even give you a really good demonstration. Look at this product. Look how great it is. It's durable. It's well built. It provides all these benefits and all this great stuff. But there's nothing behind it, okay? It could be true. I mean, probably not, right? We always live by that. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. So you need to make sure that you're watching for these red flags. Okay. There's plenty of people out there that they quickly grab a book and they, look up a couple of chapters, write down a little bit of stuff. A lot of times there's people that have AI writing scripts for them. So they come off really intelligent. They can tell a good story in front of the camera. And so they get a mass following. you got to be careful because all they're doing is regurgitating. You can't ask them a question. Hey, can you clarify this? I was watching one of your videos. Chances are they're not going to reply back. Like, especially I've got too big of a following. I can't just reply to everybody, and I get it. And that's true to some extent. But a lot of the ones that and not this is not certainly a case for every single one of them, but a lot of the ones that are genuine, they have Q&A sessions, okay? And I'm going to pick on Pinball here for a second. Pinball Preparedness has two live stream Q&As. He sits down for an hour and goes through a wide array. That's respect right there. That's not submit your question in 7 to 10 business days. I can look up the answer and do all this other stuff and get back to you. No, he asks, or he sits there, you ask the question, he reads it aloud, and then he gives you an answer. Now, that answer is either fact or opinion, or, based off his own experience, or he says, and this is where he gets most of my respect, I don't know. Okay. That right there tells me that's genuine. That's not fake. He's not trying to come off fake. And that right there is where it gives me that sense of following. There's a sense of when for me anyway, when you have that sense of there being humble. Look, I can stay in my lane. I know where my area of expertise is. I'm educated in this one, but you ask me a question that I don't know the answer, and I'm not going to pretend to know the answer. Perfect. That's what I want. None of us like our time wasted. I don't want to come to you and ask you a question and then you start dancing around or giving me things that you think are correct or this or that. And then the next thing you know, we've gone round and round for 15, 20 minutes. I'm still not sure that your information's good, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. And then I go and I spend money and time and try it. And next thing you know, I'm out money. I'm out the whole weekend, and it was a miserable disaster. Okay. You could have saved all that by going, I don't know. That's not my area of expertise. So moving on is going to be during an SHTF situation. You're going to, when an event happens, you're going to have people that they're going to put on a really, really good show. Just like before, people have the ability to lie. Each one of us can lie. Each one of us can put on a show. Some are better than others, right? Sometimes somebody can lie and you can look at them and go, no, that's a lie. Other ones, you kind of go, you're a little hesitant. And sometimes somebody can lie really, really well. You buy it, hook, line, and sinker. During an SHTF, the same thing's going to happen. And you've really got to be even more careful. You got to be more aware of what's going on because there's a lot happening. There's things going off around you. There's heightened adrenaline. There's tensions. There's a sense of unknowing, uneasy, uncertainty, and it can sometimes affect decision making. I make that really quick snap decision, right? So you gotta make sure that you are aware of that potential, that there is going to be people out there that is going to utilize a bad situation in order for them to get gain by some means, right? So you could have it to where you are at, you're shopping in Walmart or whatever. You're in a store. SHTF suddenly happens. Well, the person standing next to you or the person that's out in the parking lot or whatever, they're like, oh, we got to team up, there's strength in numbers, there's this or that. They can make a ton of sense, but is it true? Also, you have to be a little bit on the wary side of maybe it is true, maybe that person is genuine, maybe they are one that could be very beneficial to you. It's mutually beneficial. You help them, they help you, they're a good person, there's no danger in going with them, but you are too afraid to take that chance. You can't read them, so you just, I'm not taking a chance. You could put yourself in more of a dangerous situation by not accepting their help or not teaming up with them. There's a back and forth, okay? Remember, when it comes to a decision, every single decision has at least two options. Okay, every single decision. There is no, well, here's a question and it's got one. There's multiple things, okay? So you have to make sure that even if you've got 10 seconds to decide, you've got to try and be able to slow down for a second, take a deep breath, and do your best to intelligently think things through. Uh, and that kind of goes into the last one. Maybe you were talking with somebody trying to vet them. You didn't have much time, maybe a couple of days, and then SHTF happens. Well, you were already vetting them. They seemed okay. So you give them a little bit of a benefit of doubt. They keep up the charade and the show during SHTF. They're doing things and helping out and all that stuff. They can still be putting up a show after SHTF. Anybody can turn. Okay, we just talked about that. Of if a human is capable of doing it, then they can do it at any time. Okay, just because I have the ability to smash out a window doesn't mean I have to do it today. I can do it tomorrow. I can do it next week. I can do it in 10 years. So just because you've gone through and you've vetted somebody, just because that you've trained with them, you've talked with them, you've planned with them, all this other stuff does not mean that things can change. Okay. Sometimes change is very, very slow, and there's signs of it. You can start seeing little things happening, and it's little cues, little red flags where you need to pay maybe a little bit more attention to their actions. Sometimes you need to interact with them to be able to pick up on these. Sometimes you need to be able to monitor from a distance so that way you can see. Sometimes it's a mixture of both. Sometimes it's just a snap thing. Maybe they're dealing with something and they're really good at putting up a show, and there's a trigger that happens, and boom, they just flip a switch and they're gone. Okay, so people and a person is panicky. Okay, every single person is unpredictable. I know that there's going to be the ones that are scientifically, well, this, that, and everything else. Yes, if you get a mass group of people and all this other stuff, you can do various things to try and control the outcome. But the thing is it's never 100%. You can do all sorts of things to try and control somebody's behavior or speech or whatever. There's always the one that is unpredictable. That wasn't even an option. Nobody even thought that that was going to happen or be possible. So you always have to take that into account. And it's not a thing to make it to where there's more fear or anything along those lines. Okay, we're human. We're all going to make mistakes. That person that you thought was going to be your right hand man or right hand woman or whatever, um, they could snap. It could just be too much for them. Now, granted, there are maybe people that have served in combat duty or done some sort of trauma training, or actually been in trauma events. Um, some sort of thing like that. But I'd venture to guess that probably 99% of anybody that's watching this is just your average Joe Schmo, just like I am, right? So to have full blown SHTF, okay, and then let's just say it's a grid down thing, okay? Nobody has experienced that for the most part, to have a nationwide grid down. So nobody's going to know everything that you hear of anybody talking about it. It's all speculative. They're just guessing on what's going to happen. Now, it's plausible. Okay, some of them have a really good opinion on what's going to happen, and I tend to agree with some of it. But there's it's never happened. Okay, we have really nothing to go on uh, to have any of these SHTF events where somebody's like, well, when a CME happens, an EMP happens, a cyber attack happens, a nuclear holocaust happens, or whatever. Okay, it's one of those that 99% of the population has no idea. They've never experienced it, or experienced it on a huge scale, right? We can go through and we can go, well, power outage, I've had one of those. Power went out for the whole weekend or a whole week, or I've experienced a flood or a hurricane, and I know what SHTF. Those are localized, and it gives you some experience. Don't get me wrong here. That's not a valuable learning experience, but I'm talking nationwide or even worse, worldwide. There's nobody that's experienced that, and it's hard. It's extremely hard to try and predict what's going to happen. Uh, and it's one of those ones where I think it's going to be a mixture of a lot of people's different opinions. I think there's a lot of things where somebody's like, oh, it's just going to be total anarchy all over. Maybe. Okay. There's probably some truth to that. Uh, yeah, I would say a lot of the actual big cities and stuff, you're probably right for the most part. I'd say a lot of the rural areas, maybe a little bit of panic or whatnot. But I would tend to think that there's actually going to be pockets of it's not affecting that much. Here and there you may have some people come across or some other things happen, but I think it's all going to be kind of regional all over the place. It's really bad here. It's not very bad here. It's comes and goes here. There's a lot into it. So you have to beware, okay? And you have to be cautious when you are interacting with somebody, whether that's in person, whether that is online, even if you're not being interactive. Maybe you're just watching somebody give a speech. Maybe you're watching somebody's video, kind of like this one. Take everything with a grain of salt, okay? Make sure that you're getting something of value and substance out of it. Don't just follow somebody because they have a ton of subscribers. Don't follow somebody because they give cool stuff away, okay? Make sure you are getting something out of it. You are learning, okay? Now, you're not going to get every single one. I don't care who you watch, who you listen to, who you follow. Every single time that they open their mouth isn't specifically for you. Maybe you already know how to tie a knot, or maybe you already know how to filter water, whatever. It's not for you. But as long as you're getting something out of it, then that is the big thing for all of this, right? We need to continually learn. So make sure you also beware of yourself. Okay. You're just as dangerous where if you think that you're done, that's dangerous. You need to do everything you can to continue to learn. And I challenge you once a week, just type in prepper, type in, homestead, type in something along those lines and find somebody new and give them a chance. Watch one or two videos, give them a chance. Network. There's a lot of times, and I'm probably speaks for a lot of you, somehow you randomly come across somebody or somebody that you follow brings on another channel and you're like, I never even knew these people existed and they have really great topics and they're doing a lot of great stuff. If you're not introduced to it, you're missing out on a lot of really helpful, really beneficial information. So beware of yourself as well. So that's what I've got for you today. Hopefully, I at least gave you a little bit of an insight, a little bit of information there. If nothing else, maybe my waving hands as I talk brought you some entertainment. I don't know. But I hope you guys have an amazing day. I hope you guys have a blessed day. Stay tuned because there's definitely more information to come. And with that, please remember to remain united because we're all prepping in this together.